Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is early morning, as you can tell behind me. I think it's like 6:30 a.m. But I just want to kind of make this video today about kind of how you need to reprogram your mind to think new and better things. And I was kind of just thinking this yesterday when I was doing a visa run. I went to Cambodia. It was like a 5-hour trip there and a 5-hour trip back, and 2 hours there doing the visa stuff. But it was in a packed van with like 12 people, and I was kind of scrunched in the middle. And it's kind of impossible for me to sleep, so I was just kind of thinking and watching Scarface. If you haven't watched it already, it's a great movie, and I definitely recommend it. But yeah, so I was kind of thinking on how, like, in the past I kind of agreed on things that I don't agree with now, and they don't truly align with my true self. And I was kind of thinking this way because I read the book called The Four Agreements by it's Don Miguel Ruiz. And you can correct me on the last part of that name, like it's Ruiz, but yeah, it's a great book. It's kind of about how people tell us things, and if we agree with them, they become a part of our reality, and we can disagree with them and kind of form our own reality and our own way of life. But if you kind of agree with things people say and that are negative towards you, then those negative things will be a part of your life. Like, say someone tells you you can't do 50 push-ups in a row, and you agree with them, you'll never be able to do those 50 push-ups in a row. And it's just kind of an example of how, like, things people say can greatly affect us. Like in the book, it talks about how this girl was singing outside. This like little girl, she was like maybe 4 or 5, and her mom wasn't having a good day, so she kept singing and singing. And the mom kept getting more annoyed because of her bad day and a lot of bad things happening in her life. So she yelled at the girl to stop singing, that she had an ugly voice. And guess what? The girl agreed with that mom and never sang in the rest of her life. And it's very sad because she had such a beautiful voice, and she was destined to be like this very great singer. But she never became that singer because she agreed with what her mom said and never sang again. Even in college, like, she became really shy and never really spoke a lot because she thought she had an ugly voice. So the power people have over you is very great, especially if you agree with those thoughts. So that's kind of why I wanted to make this video about how you need to, like, look back in your past and maybe look back on what things people said to you that you might have agreed with in the past. But if you want to achieve great things, then you need to have new agreements that you need to have that truly align with who you are and what you want to accomplish. And that's why I kind of wanted to make this video. So let's go ahead and hop into it. So if you want to have a really successful life and want to accomplish great things, you got to have new agreements set so you can think in ways that kind of lead you to achieve those things. Because you are what you think about. If you think in negative and fearful thinking, that you're scared to fail and you're more trying to please people, into thinking that, okay, you're just going to be average, you're not going to attain too much, and you're just going to live a normal lifestyle for the rest of your life. I mean, that's okay if you want to stay average, but for me, I feel like you need to have new agreements that you can live whatever way you want, and that you can achieve anything you want if you put your mind to it. And that kind of comes down to changing the way you think and reprogramming your mind into thinking that you can do anything you want if you kind of set out your mind to do so. So we've kind of been programmed to think in negative and fearful thinking through, like, maybe teachers, friends, co-workers, music, just a lot of different factors kind of come into play when it comes to how you think and what you agree with. Like, let's see here. Let's think of an example. Okay, the TV show Friends. That show's about, 3 guys and 3 girls. The 3 guys are losers. They make no money. They struggle to pay rent, and they live in a shitty apartment, and the girls kind of are the same, and they think all the guys are losers. And if you kind of watch that all the time, you're going to be like, okay, it's okay to be a loser. I'm a loser. It's fine. I'm just like one of those Friends TV show people. And it's kind of programming you to think that it's okay to suck and it's okay to kind of be average. But in reality, it's not okay to suck, and your sons or daughters will never look up to you too much because you're just an average guy who kind of never attained anything. So that's just an example. that's not like the main key factor in like why you suck and why you're average, but that's just an example. Like it can be music, movies, friends, etc., you know. But you just gotta change the way you think, maybe cut that out, and maybe start watching, if you like watching TV so much, just watch something positive that's like telling you you have no limits and that you shouldn't be scared to fail, and just something more positive and more inspiring than Friends. But programming your mind to success is very important, because your mind is kind of your mind is a computer and your body is the machine kind of operating the computer. So it's very important to have a very strong and healthy body, because if you have toxins and fats, like bad fat in your body, and it's gonna just block your mind from ever doing anything because of all the toxic in your body. And you're just gonna wanna fuel your mind with the best energy and fuel that you can, and just cut out all the toxins, and you'll see your life change in a matter of time. Another factor of kind of limiting your mind and programming in the bad ways, maybe working at a racetrack like I did, or maybe another corporate job like a factory or Walmart, or just a place with bad energy, and it'll just drain you and make you think that, okay, this is all I gotta do, and I just have to work at this job for a certain number of years, put everything in the stock market and hope everything works out. But that's not how it is. It's not how it should be, because you're meant for much more, and Walmart or racetrack isn't going to help you get to where you want to be in life. And you just got to use that job. I'm not saying quit, just use that job to kind of wait until you reprogram your mind and find what you actually want to do, and then you'll have the savings and funds to actually strive for that goal and kind of take risks to get there. So it really just depends on like what goal you find after you kind of reprogram your mind in the right way, and you'll see yourself like what goals you're actually meant to achieve, and not just working a wage job for the rest of your life. And it just takes a lot of time and looking back on your past and seeing what you previously agreed with that you need to change and reprogram in your mind now. And you'll find that after you reprogram your mind in a positive way, that you'll see that you have a new purpose in life, and you'll have a new sense of urgency to kind of get there, because as we talked about in yesterday's video, you're gonna die one day, and if you die with a lot of regret and you see that man who you could have became, you're gonna be ultimately depressed for eternity. So definitely gotta find out who you're meant to be, and you're gonna wanna have to strive for that guy. Strive to become that guy as soon as you can. And as we talked about before, about being who you are surrounded by, if you're surrounded by people with limiting beliefs and fears and just limiting mindsets, you're gonna have that limited mindset and that fear ingrained in you as well. So if you can change your group into people who actually have no limits or no fears, that'll be really good for you, because guess what? You'll be that next person with no fears and no limits. So once you kind of find that group and kind of change your life, then you'll see yourself accomplishing new things that you never dreamed of. But you were kind of meant to do that anyways. It was just that limiting mindset and those fears kind of holding you back from achieving them in the first place. So that's another factor in kind of reprogramming your mind, just kind of changing your group and changing your environment. So we got TV, music, we got your group, and now we can talk about just like thoughts that you've had since you were kids that maybe your parents told you or your friends told you. Now, why should you want to change the way you think? Well, let's say you do have a kid or a daughter and you haven't changed anything, and you're just an average Joe who watches Friends all the time, watches college football. You're just average, and your kids will never look up to you. They'll think, man, my dad's just average. He's just like the average guy, and he never really accomplished anything. He was just kind of working a job his whole life and never really inspired me. And that kid will just have that same burden that you had, but you never took action on. And the generational like crisis will just be passed on to your kids, and they won't look up to you, and you'll just kind of die a failure. So that's kind of my motivation to it. Like if I have a son, I want him to look up to me and think, man, my dad took that risk and he achieved great things, and I want to be just like him one day. I don't want to be that dad who's like, I don't want to be anything like him. I want to change and be the opposite of that guy. Like I want to be the dad my son looks up to instead of the opposite. So that's kind of my motivation. It should be the same for you if you're a guy watching this. Like you want to be an inspiration and motivation to your son, and you don't want to be that dad who's like looked down upon. And I think that would kind of suck, especially if you're like live for another 20, 30 years after your son is born. You kind of have to look at him turn away and go away from you. So I think that would kind of suck, and that's kind of what my driving factor, at least, into being successful and kind of breaking out of the old ways of thinking and kind of reprogramming my mind into limitless thinking and no fears at all. So if you can do the same, that's great. And if not, just die average. It's just really up to you if you want to take action or not. But that's pretty much the gist of this video, guys. I was hoping the sun would come up, but I guess it's not late enough. But you can just see the horizon. It's all right. It'll come up soon. The sun always comes back up. It's just up to you if you're gonna come up or not. So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of the video, guys. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. I'm pretty much still healthy, just got 12 hours of sleep, so feeling 110%, and we're just gonna conquer the day, make some sales, do some more studying, and find new ways of thinking. So if you guys want to read that book as well, it's a very good book. Definitely recommend the read, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.